most insane / crazy reasons someone was fired for. Had a girl call in and say she was terribly sick. She's friends with me and the other two bosses on social media. An hour after calling out, she posts pics of herself at a local pool. Ad unparalleled karma. Pro tip: don't friend your boss on social media. Wasn't the manager, but worked at Walmart where I had a co-worker in another department show up, clock in, leave to his other job for the day, return after his shift at the other job was over, and then clock out. He got away with this for 2+ months. Needless to say, he and his department manager were fired as soon as other management found out. At vocal_ham. We've got to give this person props for pulling off the long con. You came in very late and very high. I told him to leave and come back tomorrow, early and sober. He didn't like that idea, so he took a swing at me. Fell down. Fired. At Sadwigmeister 23. Woodman 22. Years ago, at a lumber company. Had a guy, less than 2 hours after he started on his first day, pick up his car with a forklift and stand underneath it to see what was rattling when he drove. Not too crazy. More stupid than crazy. One of the programmers on my team was sitting at his desk looking at porn. And this is cubicle land. No offices. My director walked into the area to talk to me and saw it. Then it was the first thing he told me about, so I got up and walked over for a look myself, and there it was. Me and the director looked at each other and I said, I got to take care of this. So we walked back to HR. I told them what was going on and what we saw, and they told me to fire him. So I did. He lost a $110K job for looking at porn on his computer at work. Bunny 2004. Had to fire a guy for coming to work high on meth and getting lost in a closet while painting it. Asked what the deal was and was told SHHHC, I am having a conversation. That was his last day. LMAO. Comedic. Who boy. I'd have to go with the guy who in the span of 24 hours started a fist fight with another employee, on camera, with witnesses, then called the police and said the other guy did it, trying to press charges. I just sent the video. Trespassed on the property the following day and slurred at my boss, on camera, with witnesses, then called the police and said my boss did it. I just sent the video. Hurt himself somehow and went to the hospital, where he told the doctor he'd been attacked at work. Dead, found no injury consistent with the story, and well, yeah, camera. Ravonco. Fired a guy for looking to pay someone to cast black magic on the owner and the owner's family to bewitch them into giving him a raise, and, ironically, never firing him. Only reason I found out was because he asked someone else in the office for help in finding a witch doctor to cast the spells and were got round. No one wanted to be in the same room as him after that. When I confronted him, he said the devil made him do it, so it wasn't his fault. I live in the Middle East. I definitely did not wake up expecting to fire someone for black magic that day. Side note. Practicing black magic is literally a death sentence here. Pogranity Planet. The guy had somehow hung on by the skin of his teeth when caught making plastic model funny cars at his desk. Pro tip. Throwing a newspaper over them auto doesn't hide the smell of the glue, but when a client called complaining about our hero trying to sell him golf clubs out of the trunk of his car, he was gone. This person worked at a fancy cafe. Once, his childhood friend visited the cafe as a customer. The counter in charge told him her order. He thought of doing some fun with his friend. So, he drew a penis instead of some other design on the foam of her latte. He was waiting for her friend's reaction. A moment later she came with completely red-faced and asked for a new drink. The girl had actually ordered the drink for her boss and they were there to discuss about our promotion. Poor penis artist was fired on spot. An employee worked at one of the packers and movers agency. He had the dresser's duty that day. While packing the customer's stuff into boxes, he found vibrators and some hilarious photos of the customer and mustache sitting in the bathtub with his hairy chest. Moving on with his work, he put a winking smiley on the box containing the stuff and he himself was canned a few days later. McDonald's fired this employee for not smiling enough. That's actually one of the important traits to please your customers. Some bosses don't like their employees to waste their time for the waste. Apparently, taking 10 minutes for the dump was too long for him. And thus, the bad stomach guy got fired. I had an officer under me. He was reported in a tree. I went to investigate the last place he was seen. He was still there, attempting to pepper spray birds. I wish I could have made that up. At smoking full. He slashed my tire after I told him to go work instead of sitting in the break room. At SGTDEFECTIVE2. Man, being a manager is riskier than we thought. This kid came in for his first shadowing with me and we were headed to a nicer vend, one which required we wear nicer attire. He'd been asked by my editor not to wear jeans or shorts but to dress business casual, slacks and at least a nice button-up shirt or polo. Well, he showed up late, and he showed up in jeans and flip-flops, football getters. Purchased 6 songs on iTunes with the company credit card less than an hour after we issued it to him. No way that's a business expense, eat my opinions. I hired someone to write about cars for a website I was editing. The very first piece of copy he turned in on his very first day was a plagiarized copy of something I had written 2 years prior. I just sent him a link to my original piece that he plagiarized, and never heard from him again. Harsh cougar. Wasn't a manager, but we had a kid who came into the shop in his first day of night shift. They couldn't find him. Well, they found him after a few hours. He cleaned off a shelf in the parts room and was sleeping on it. Was ill. This one girl shopped at the store a lot and we were excited to hire her. She was let go because she was late, was caught trying on clothes instead of greeting, and apparently laughed when anyone asked for a size larger than a medium, LHUGS. I had probably did. In the early 2000s I managed a coffee shop that required the customers' names to be put on the cup. One guy looked like he was doing it, but upon closer inspection on some cups he was writing an IP address. Turns out he was running an illegal sports book out of the shop. He did quit before I had to technically fire him because he found out I knew. 40-something-year-old woman came in smelling of alcohol in a toy store for her first day as a seasonal employee. She threw up on herself in between helping customers, terraping. Had this guy who came in, filled out his name and social security number, gave it to us, then proceeded to steal the front desk guy's wallet and keys. Right in front of a very visible security camera. Managed a bookstore that had an auxiliary calendar kiosk at the other end of the shopping center. Hired a woman to man it, did her morning training, left her alone for a bit. Went back to check on her and found half the calendars stolen and her asleep behind the curtains. We used to hire back stock, book her to a charbine. Misery steal. One of my nurses was chasing another down the hall with a scalpel in her hand, screaming at the top of her lungs, "I'm going to cut you, bitch." From Canine Rescue. They stole a $3 bottle of wine that could have easily put on the house check for employees. Pret Cook stole a 25 lb bag of onions. Not me, but someone I worked with had an employee throw a cup of tea in his face, in his office, sitting at his desk. He just looked at the dude, dripping tea, and said, "Get out!" At CNTRLF8. Setting a paper packing machine on fire because it got stuck. At him on video. A therapist here. One of my therapists was caught texting while she was giving a massage. At pretty floor 0NNET. Donkeytron 42. CEO ordered me to fire one of my interns because he was trying to hit on one of the other interns the CEO had the hots for. From Gangst. A guy shaved/trimmed off his pubes and left them scattered across a shared desk in a shared office. When confronted, he pulled a George Costanza. Oh, is that frowned upon? I hope you like this video. I'll be making more like this. If you have any ideas or tips, then please let me know in the comments. I am new to this and also extremely shy, lol, plus I only have a phone to make videos on, so they're not the best, yet I'm sure as time goes by, I'll be able to make them a lot better. So if you like this video, even the slightest, then please share, like, comment and subscribe. It would help me a lot. Thank you. See you in the next one.